Gender Socialization in the United States, a focus on parents' influence on gender identity and understanding by Anel Diaz. According to Webster Dictionary, gender is defined as the behavioral, cultural, or psychological traits typically associated with one's sex. It is believed that our behavior, culture, and psychological traits are highly influenced by how and who raises us. In this presentation, I will explore the following topics to better understand the impact parents can have on gender socialization. Can gender be influenced by how a child is raised? Can gender differences in emotions be influenced by how a child is raised? According to a study conducted by Epstein and Ward, parents influence their children's gender knowledge in 4 ways: gender-typed activities and toys, treating their daughters differently than their sons, how each parent presents his or her gender role via interaction and behaviors, and the way they communicate their ideals and expectations. Little girls are usually exposed to dolls and activities that are generally geared to girls, while boys are exposed to cars and sports at a young age. This can lead to children believing that certain toys and activities are what they're supposed to enjoy, and wanting or desiring something that is not related to their gender is not acceptable. Another example of how parents can influence their children's gender views is by how they demonstrate his or her gender role. In other words, leading by example. Children see parents take on tasks such as stay-at-home parent and working parent. Usually the male parent works while the female parent stays home and takes care of the children and the home. This could have a significant impact on how children perceive each gender's responsibilities. Epstein and Ward conducted a study in which they interviewed women and men on what gender-related messages they received from their parents growing up. Women reported messages that encouraged them to be more feminine and that only if she acted like a lady, she would be accepted in society and would get a husband. Men recalled being told to act like a man and not to show your emotions and be more aggressive. With that said, is it safe to say that parents can influence emotional expectations as well? In a study conducted by Chaplin, it is believed that the differences in gender expression of emotion can be linked to 3 main theories: biological, social developmental, and social constructionist. Biological theory suggests girls' and boys' emotional expressions are different due to natural factors such as the difference in androgen and estrogen level at puberty. Some examples of these differences can be seen in the way male and female communicate and use language to express how they feel. The lack of expressive language usually seen in males can be linked to the brain, body, and hormonal developmental differences between the two genders. Social theory suggests that girls' and boys' emotional expressions are influenced by the gender role knowledge they have developed via their parents or social settings. It is noted that the way parents react to their child's emotions help reinforce the child's belief in how he or she should react. For example, Champlin observed how differently a father responded to his daughter and son when they both expressed signs of sadness and frustration. The father was more compassionate with his daughter than his son. Both reactions demonstrate reinforcement to the theory on how parents can influence the gender-specific expression of emotion. Constructionist theories believe that the environment influences emotional expression. Both gender express emotions differently at home versus a social situation. Children are more comfortable with showing how they feel with their parents than in a public environment because they think expressing emotions is not acceptable. The difference in emotions can be linked back to how a child is raised by exploring how each gender is treated when he or she expresses their feelings. As previously mentioned, boys are told to act like a man and not to be a baby. This can hurt them and leads to suppressing their emotions. However, girls are expected to be more emotional and are more likely to express and vocalize how they feel without fearing judgment or adverse reaction.
Recall a time when you or maybe someone you know told a young boy to stop crying or to suck it up, or encouraged a young girl to play with Barbies instead of a toy truck. From the beginning, we set an either or path for our children, a one or another when it comes to clothes, toys, or actions. It either is or isn't okay to cry. You either play with Hot Wheels or you play with Barbies. We use gender as a way to construct our children's reality. Now, the work of a communication scholar, James Carey, tells us that communication is a symbolic process whereby our realities are produced, maintained, repaired, and transformed. Now, I'm not here to say that the communication we're having with our children is invaluable, nor am I even here to paint the world yellow. What I am here to do is encourage a breakaway from that gender dichotomy. By communicating what we believe is appropriate language, clothes, attire, actions to our children, we're giving a symbolic message as to what it means to be a man and a woman. Our communication produces it. Our reinforcement of that communication maintains it, and yet, by changing the way we speak and act, we can transform it. Communicating macho manhood to young boys and communicating submissiveness to young girls just won't cut it. We, by communicating that, are really sending strong signs to our young boys and young girls as to what it means to be a man and a woman. Now, let's face it, we tell children what they should do and what they should be, but not so much what they can do or what they can be. We use gender as something that we must fit into, masculinity for men and femininity for females, when really gender is so fluid with so many different possibilities and combinations that anybody can fit into it. Now, I do want to show you a picture of Lena today. And as you can imagine, the pictures I showed you earlier were two pictures of the same little girl. But it's amazing how much we relied on our minds and communicating gender to tell us a little bit about difference. Now, I'm here to tell you that we need to really think about the way we communicate gender to our children. We have a responsibility to think about the ways that we talk about gender and to make sure that we're communicating it in liberative, positive ways so that we can have a society that doesn't see gender and a society that communicates gender in more positive tones for a more diverse, just world. Thank you.
This topic has helped me realize how much of an impact I can be to my children and their social development and understanding of gender. What we communicate can have a significant effect on how they feel about their gender and expectations. It is essential to keep this in mind and try to change the culture and stigma by changing the way we communicate and express gender in society.